Colorado's VA hospital is under fire this week as they continue to cancel non-emergency surgeries due to inability to properly sterilize equipment. I swear to you, this is not a story from the Civil War. Spokesman Dan Warvey stated the operating rooms are still functioning in a limited capacity while equipment is being sent to and from Cheyenne to be cleaned. I wish I was making this topic up. Eric, I read this and I at first thought it was an Onion joke, and then I remembered that this isn't the one that's to be built. This isn't the VA hospital that we've been talking about for months on this show. That's the construction kerfuffle. This is the current hospital supposed to be helping that this community would consider the #1 folks that should be helped, which is the heroes, the veterans of our country, and that we can't get materials for surgery cleaned. I'm sorry, I'm just beside myself. Your thoughts?
Keep going, Dominic. You're saying it well. I didn't realize we were already at Disgrace of the Week, but this could very well be it. It is mind-boggling. It is truly mind-boggling. As someone who just saw the inside of an operating room a few weeks ago, I have a new knee not that many weeks ago, you take some things for granted. And in 2015, you ought to be able to take a few things for granted when you go into the hospital, starting with the surgical equipment is sterilized. Your Civil War analogy is right on the mark. What do they have in Cheyenne that we don't have here? I mean, I just don't get it. The real issue here, let me turn serious for a second, is there is no population who deserves first class, the highest standard of care more than this population. And there's no population that is probably receiving less of it or where it is more compromised than what we're seeing here. I read at the same time this article was out, there's an article about the VA hospital in Detroit, which truly sounds like, they don't have a Cheyenne to turn to. It sounds like you're doing business or practicing medicine in some third world outpost. I continue to ask the question, why is this a captive system? Why not let these people have the best operating rooms and the cleanest, most sterile operating rooms in any other hospital in Denver through some kind of voucher or whatever payment mechanism you want to come up with? I think the days of the VA being a captive system are winding down.
Natasha, Civil War jokes aside, when you look at the VA hospital and the issues, besides the building itself is an epic disaster. But you see stories like this. At one point, does somebody take this as some sort of populist bat and say, we can make some difference with this politically? I mean, they really use this as an issue to beat the heck out of whoever's in charge with it right now.
Well, absolutely, someone should be doing that. But I will take up that bat, not in a political manner, but I will say, why don't the vets who are getting rescheduled right now come to the public in Colorado and say, start a GoFundMe page and say, please don't make me go to the VA.
Yeah.
So could we get public support to get these people the surgeries that they need? I mean, obviously the government's not stepping up. I did look at something. The Center for Investigative Reporting did a report that looked at the backlog for VA hospitals in the last week. It came out, but they said that we are now back down to approximately the level we were when Obama took office, which is great because we had a massive backlog that came up during that time. So we've made some progress, but that's not enough. We need to do so much more. So if the government can't do it at this point, I think it's public citizens that have to step forward and say, all right, what do you need for your surgery? We can make this happen.
Patty, what do you think? A GoFundMe page for these folks? Because the help doesn't seem to be coming from anywhere else.
Or maybe just going to Donald Trump, who could spend a lot more time talking about how to really help the VA veterans and the VA hospitals, how to get them organized. Why doesn't he just take this on instead of beating up John McCain? I would also like to say, if they are taking instruments to Cheyenne, I hope they are not trying to sterilize them in alcohol, because having just been to Cheyenne Frontier Days, there is none left up there.
Todd, wrap it up for us.
Harry S. Truman first gained a foothold on the national consciousness when he started his Truman Committee, where he drove coast to coast to uncover waste and fraud in the Army system and the places where bombs and airplanes were being manufactured. This country needs a Truman Committee for the VA. If you go all the way back to the 2007 Walter Reed scandal, basically we've had nothing but a decade of scandals that not only deal with the care issue, as Eric brought up, but that deal with the capital projects, as we're seeing in Aurora. It's time for something serious to be formed to tackle all of the problems and make serious reforms.